need to understand what is science and why are we studying science. So should I continue? So why are we studying science? See, whether we study science or whether we study mathematics, we need to understand that their application needs to be there. Science ultimately ends up into any kind of research work and ultimately helping the community. So whether we are studying science or whether we are studying mathematics, research needs to be done. Digital learning in science is another form of research. It's an offshoot of application of science, and it has an impact to the learner, because again, people call it a tool, people call it a method. It is one of the methods, but then it depends on how you use that tool and how your research will help the community. If we are using mobile phones, how mobile phones are helping community is the answer to what kind of mobile phone have been made. So the output is how helpful or beneficial any kind of product is to the community. So digital learning, whether beneficial to science or not science, is evident from the fact that how the scientific aptitude is being tested, applied, and how many jobs are students are getting out of it. So that's the benchmark to understand whether digital learning and science go hand in hand.
And how digital labs act as a tool for science students?
Digital lab, definitely. See, first of all, we need to be very, very clear that a school is here, and a lab could be anywhere. A lab could be in a garage. In fact, 90% of the research happens in garages. So, if we talk about a lab, it's actually some kind of an environment that builds up and helps you to do further research. And if we get a digital lab, then it becomes very, very handy for a student to gel into the environment, and then he has access to all the resources. As we say, research, you need 3-4 mandates of research are like you need resources, you need men, money, material, machines, magic. These are major components of research. And when we talk about material, so this answers the question that is digital lab necessary for science? Yes, it is one of the materials to the mandate.
The changes you have observed in digital labs for science education in the past 2 years?
It's, I think, developing and reaching to the higher levels, because everybody's trying to study the learners. Everybody's trying to study the different domains of cognitive development to understand how can a learner and the learning be improved and the testing be improved. So and I think a lot of industry is getting into it, a lot of academia is getting into it, joining hands with industry, trying to understand learning. So I think it's becoming better and better, and everybody is coming up with very, very unique product, and it's difficult for teachers and educators to cope up with that pace. But it's a lot of learning. That's why we've come here to keep up with that pace of innovation that is happening in our country, which is very, very positive sign.
And what are the models of learning science in school?
What are the models of learning science? See, when it comes to learning of science, when we say, these days, earlier when teachers used to teach science, it used to be like, they used to create handmade models and charts, and they used to get skeleton and, all that. But the real application of science could be like, what if, we give a homework like, design your solar cooker, heat your different solar cooker. Now that could be material, that could be, an aid to a child. So these are the kind of things that ideally should, science lab should have. And what I think is digital aids, like these days we're not allowed to dissect animals. So there are lots and lots of tablet companies, with fantastic ads, where they give you a real life example of how the rat is dissected, and the same way blood comes out, and you're actually not killing the animal, but really trying to understand the dissection part, and it's learning in a healthy way. So I think that's all.
And how are these students responding to this new age teaching of digital labs?
See, everybody will give different kind of answers, whether they're learning, whether they're not learning, there is data to support the research or not. But I think one answer is they're excited. But what I see is any kind of app or any kind of visual demonstration, if you show it to a child, it has an impact. If you go for a movie, if you play a song again and again, ultimately the child learns that song. Even the lyrics and the initial 2 lines and the center part, everything the child automatically remembers. So I think it gets registered in demonstration rather than theoretical lecture, you know. So definitely.
And what about benefits of virtual labs for students? And is it also, does these labs are also beneficial for cost cutting?
For cost cutting. I don't know whether you call it. I don't have the exact cost dynamics to understand that, but for a student, definitely these are beneficial. For teachers also, these are beneficial because somewhere, you know, these things save time. But then you need to learn, you know, you need to have the efficiency to use so that you save time. If you're a person who's a novice who doesn't know how to really operate computers and tablets, then you'll take n number of hours instead of writing. It will be difficult for you to create a lesson on a tablet. So it depends upon how efficiently you learn it. You're well trained about it. You save time for the student also. You know, you can test a child there and then. You can evaluate. You can assess. There are very motivating icons, you know, that pop up, and you can really, you know, excite the child there and then. The child feels like learning and sitting and going through the experience. You know, I always quote an example of Kaun Banega Crorepati. You know, we all watch that, and we've been watching for so many years now. All of us love watching that. Should we have these kind of tests in our school? Should we have these kinds of assessments happening in our classrooms? So that is what these tablets are doing. They're making the experience very, very memorable, threat-free, fearless. So it's a good experience. You know, it's like a lot of innovation in the school education.
And how are these digital apps beneficial for special needs students?
Fantastic question. I'm really happy that you're so well prepared with your questions. Yes, it is beneficial because you know, we've had a case study in our school where the child was 100% hearing impaired, but because the content was visual and there was a text, you know, coming and explaining about each and every slide that just came up, the child could continue education in a normal school. And certain cases, yes, when for braille and all, you know, definitely needs specific instructor for visually impaired. But rest, all other kind of impairments and disabilities can be covered through this great piece of innovation. It is me. I have a case study on that, and I have a research paper on that as well, where we studied 2 hearing impaired students of our children's school who have really excelled in spite of the fact that they, you know, even with the hearing equipment, they understand everything. You know, even if, you know, 100% hearing loss is there, they can understand what's going on in the class, and the results were very good. Better than the you know, the slow learners of the class. So what else does a parent?
So can you share a case study with us? I can show you my story.
Sure, definitely. So we had these 2 children. One was Kubat. He came to us at grade 1 level, and he came from different schools. And at that time, our school was very new. So you know, his mother came and told us that nobody wants to take him in their school because mainstreaming and special schools, you know, there's a conflict and all. So we took it as a challenge. We said, let's try it out. And the best thing that we did was, we put him in the main classroom, and we forgot that he was a special child. So nobody did anything, no therapy, nothing. And he was treated as normally as the other children were. And no sign language, nothing. Eventually his speech started developing, and which is like a very, very positive sign. Because normally hearing impaired children, they really suffer with speech development. But this child started speaking very normally. Till grade 6 he was speaking as normally as, you know, most of us speak. And I remember he comes to my office one day, he wins the state level painting competition, and he comes to my room one day and tells me that, ma'am, I want to open a company and I want you to be a CEO of my company. So he won that scholarship of some money, and he said, why don't you put it somewhere and maybe, you know, I'll keep on pouring more and more money and let's open a company. And that was like a big compliment. So we submitted this case study in a government university in Chandigarh, and the results were phenomenal. So the best idea is treat them as normal as possible. Don't do any kind of therapies till the time the intervention is not needed. Just make them feel normal. And speech comes through pure learning. Let them be with peers and let them not get into sign language or something like that. That's what we experienced here with case studies.
What are the upcoming trends that you are observing in the education sector?
One of the biggest trend is assessment. Earlier in our times, we used to have teaching, we used to have learning, but nobody could understand what we are teaching. Has the child learned or not? There were no evidences. There were, I mean, I don't know, till date you have to teach in a manner where you don't tell a child why are you learning science and why are you studying geography. So I think now the wave is, the process starts from assessment and ends on assessment. So the child should be trained on different formats of examinations. Instead of pen paper test नहीं होना चाहिए, बहुत तरीके के test होते हैं. So you can give lots and lots of tests to children, and online web examination, an open book examination, and then you can have a fifth standard child, fourth standard child. That could be one set of assessment where the child makes a PPT and gives a presentation. So why to just have one kind of mindset in terms of assessment? And every child is a different case study. So assessment helps you to dive deep into the world of the child and understand what you get out.
And in which cities do you see the adoption of digital labs and why?
I think first of all metros, of course. It percolates, it starts from metros, and then the B-town cities, they try to follow, and then the C-town cities, they suddenly, there's an entire country, talking about it and trying to imbibe in their schools. So definitely I think it starts from metros, but ultimately it starts from a very, very unique case study. And also, it's very, very important to do research. It is very, very important for students to come up with research papers in international journals, come up with very, very nice, successful case studies with statistical data analysis, with relevant evidences, and we will have a very, very good education system for future. Thank you so much.